Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live like we do each and every AM, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. on 12-ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Who, me? And the man on the other microphone, he is known to be a great patriot. Sometimes he loves America, but sometimes he loves Canada more. And you know him as...
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this Thursday, February the 7th, 2019, Loudbeard. And I found out yesterday, I'm going to Colorado this summer, Loudbeard, and I found out yesterday that I need to go to an MMA gym and learn how to practice MMA fighting skills before I go to Colorado.
And why is that, Chris America? Why do you need to learn how to fight an MMA-style fighter as a fighter in Colorado? Why is that?
Well, you would think it'd be because there's legal marijuana and I got to fight off crime. No, that's not it. It's because a runner was running through the mountains of Colorado near Fort Collins, and a mountain lion attacked him, bit his face, bit his hands. Then he did the old you've seen the movie where the good guy's getting choked out or beaten out, and he reaches and he's like grasping for an object, and then he finally grabs it and hits the bad guy in the head. You've seen that before, right?
Yeah, like there's like a randomly placed rock right there in his reach.
Well,
he's reaching for it, and then he gets it.
Well, that's exactly what he did. He found a randomly placed rock. Well, though, on the trails of a Colorado Rocky Mountain side, I'm not sure they're so random there, but he found the rock. He hits the cougar or the mountain lion on the face, and then he gets what the old MMA term, he gets his back, which is not a good thing in MMA. If someone has your back, it's not a good thing. Normally, it's a good thing. Like if I say, Loudbeard, I got your back, that's a good thing. But in an MMA cage, if I got your back, it's no bueno. And this man chokes out a mountain lion to death. What a story.
Wow. That's actually a cool story. I'm glad you brought that up this morning because, you know, sometimes you just need to know a little MMA to get yourself through the day. And when you're listening to Scout Team Radio, we charge your morning. We get your day started off right. Whether you're listening in on the TuneIn app or if you're listening on 12-ounce Sports Radio or if you're downloading our podcast, listening to that or the Barn Burner Network, you got to be ready to choke out somebody at some time during the day. So when you get into the office today, if you see, let's say, a coworker that annoys the crap out of you, just choke them out. Just do it. That's what we're encouraging.
A little guillotine.
Yeah.
No. We do not promote workplace violence here on Scout Team Radio, Loudbeard. But the guy did make one mistake, Loudbeard.
What was that?
He didn't give out his name in any of the stories. He was an unnamed runner. And if that were me, Loudbeard, I'd have my name plastered all over. Because if I go to a bar and I go to you or anybody, I'm at one of your Super Bowl parties, that's my number one lead-in story. Hey, I'm Chris Chris America, and I choked out a mountain lion.
See, if I was in a bar and I'd say, hey, a friend of mine, he just got his face bit off by a mountain lion. You know, it's that one guy, we call him
America. Yes.
And at the bar, you'd be a legend.
I would. And
face
when people,
eaten off, but you choked him out, so it's cool.
And when people call out my BS, I would just Google my name. Do. There's the news story, buddy. Read it and weep. I choked out a mountain lion. Otherwise, if somebody told me they choked out a mountain lion with their bare hands, my BS meters would be going through the roof.
Yeah, but I think he's one of those guys that sounds like he's not giving his name out. He's probably in the office today, and somebody's sitting there that read that article. They're like, You have a big bandage on your face. It looks like half of your face was mauled by a mountain lion. Are you that dude that choked out a mountain lion? And he'll be sitting there, no, that must have been some other guy. My name is Clark Kent. I am not that dude that choked out the mountain lion.
You know,
Just
that
put
is
on
a good
glasses
point.
today.
Not that Clark Kent would have this problem, but you ever notice Bruce Wayne? He'd get his rear end kicked a bunch of times as Batman, and then he shows up to the next, gala or something as Bruce Wayne, and his face looks fine.
Weird. I wonder how they do that. Maybe because it's
Makeup,
fake.
mascara.
Comic book. Oh, you think just
Mascara.
mascara?
Yeah, just mascara. Put it over.
I don't think mascara covers big bruises. I think it
Well,
helps eyelashes.
You don't think it'll cover up a big cougar gash or a mountain lion gash? I keep saying cougar. Are they the same thing? I feel
No,
like
they're
they
not. But I
No?
think Bruce Wayne's hit himself some cougars in the day.
Hi-oh.
Wow, it's gonna be that kind of morning, huh, Chris America?
Yeah, but Ladbeard, that is definitely my lead-in bar story, and for sure, if I'm single, you got to bring that up to the ladies.
Yeah, that's a go-to right there. I don't know how you don't bring that up. Now, Chris America, if any of our listeners out there have any awesome stories that they want to bring up, like they were hitting us up at the bar, they can always hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. This morning, Twitter line's already hot. Good listener of the show, good friend of ours, Ian Hall, he's tweeting in. He's starting us off hot today. He says, so Scout Team Radio, is LeBron taking a shot at the Mavs organization because he's still mad at the 2011 championship, ? Now, I got to preface this tweet a little bit here, Chris America. One, Ian Hall is a Mavs fan, so obviously he is going to be all little sensitive, let's say, when LeBron makes some comments about his Mavs. But last night, the Dallas Mavericks were playing, and in the middle of the game, Harrison Barnes is playing the game. In the middle of the game, it gets announced that he's been traded. So as he's playing, about third quarter, they sit him down on the bench, and he doesn't play the rest of the game. He's basically got to go back to the locker room, and as he's changing, he's like, all right, see you guys. Guess this was my last day. Middle of the game, he gets traded. And, of course, LeBron being the superhero that he is, he's Superman. He's out there fighting for the rights of America. He's kind of like Chris America, but his name is LeBron James. And he's fighting for the rights of the people. And LeBron James says, comes out and he makes some comments saying that he doesn't really like the fact that the Mavericks traded his boy Harrison Barnes in the middle of the game. Now, Ian Hall is also asking, the Kings were playing last night, and that's who he got traded to, and the Kings traded players. LeBron doesn't care about the players on the Kings. All he cares about is his boy Harrison Barnes getting disrespected by the Dallas Mavericks. Do you think this was all right for the Mavericks to do, or do you think LeBron James is right, man? This was dirty.
I think it was a little dirty, although also according, I don't know if it was Ian, but I saw one of the guys from I can't remember what their name is these days. Is it still the outlaw and the kicker, or the kicker and the outlaw?
No, it's a family in shambles. I believe.
Basically the Rehab Sports guys. We'll keep them there. The Rehab
House
Sports
in
guys.
Shambles.
House in Shambles
at House in Shambles on Twitter. That's these guys. They put on a great podcast.
Yes, they do. The Rehab Sports guys. I'll just call them that because I feel like they should start a Rehab Sports guy network, and then they can put their little shows. Anyways. One of them tweeted out that Harrison Barnes was told prior to the game that, hey, man, we're working out a deal right now, so at a moment's notice, this thing can go down. Hopefully that happened. It is a little awkward if you're in the middle of a game and everybody else knows that you've been traded except you. I don't know when. Do you tell a player that? Do you tell your coach that, or do you just kind of keep that quiet throughout the game?
You don't go. Why would you even be sitting there? Why would you even be playing? So I don't think he knew. I don't think that this was something.
I'm pretty sure it was Ian, and Ian did make a great point. This shows that how great of a guy Harrison Barnes is if he did know, because he just wanted to go out and play for his teammates. So, hey, if that's the case, then kudos on him, but maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't know.
Yeah, see, I still don't think he knew. Now, this is what LeBron James put on his Instagram feed. He said, so let me guess, this is cool because they had to do what they had to do what was best for the franchise, right? Traded this man while he was literally playing in the game and had zero idea. Zero is all caps. He's yelling at me right now. I'm not knocking who traded him because it is because, you have to do what you have to do, but I just want this narrative to start to get a real to cause some change. Sorry, it's in very little font. I'm not going to read the rest of it. But basically, LeBron's saying this dude had no idea that this happened. So that's what LeBron's saying. Now, I don't know if LeBron knows everything, but I would say if you're the Kings and you traded for this dude and he knew ahead of time, would you want your player that you just traded for out on the floor, possibly could get injured, something could happen? I think there's no way he knew during the game. I mean, before the game.
Yeah, and LeBron just kind of went up to summarize the rest of it. He says, I'm ready for the narrative to change that when a player asks to be traded or wants to be traded, he's selfish, he doesn't believe in his teammates, blah, blah, blah. But when a team trades a guy or cuts him or et cetera, that, it's just best for business, the team did what was right for them, and all this other stuff. Yeah, there's some truth to that, LeBron. He does want us to call a spade a spade. There is some truth to that, but it's not always the case. I mean, nobody was really mad at LeBron this time when he left to go to the Lakers. We all kind of understood it. And there's been a few trades that we all kind of got behind. Like, I don't think anybody's mad that AD wants out of New Orleans. We actually kind of respect the fact that he came out and said, look, man, I don't want to re-sign with you guys. So either get value for me or lose me forever. I actually respect when a player does that. I think that's a lot better than the player kind of stringing him along like, I don't know, maybe LeBron James did to Cleveland Cavaliers the first time, and then they just walk away and you get nothing. So I don't think many people are hating on AD so much as they are kind of feeling bad for the other side of that trade, which is Kuzma, Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and whoever else has been involved in the Lakers talk. We're actually feeling bad for those guys, LeBron James. We've talked several times on Scout Team what it must feel like to be those guys, how awkward it is, how LeBron James, whether or not he wants to deny that he's a part of trade talks, which I will never believe, LeBron, that he's the one shipping them out, that he's treating people like they're expendable.
But he is. He's the GM LeBron.
He is
the owner, the president, the CEO, the vice president of operations. He's everything.
Yeah, so I don't have the clip right now, but I heard a clip yesterday that LeBron James is like, I wish this would have gone down a little bit differently. I have nothing to do with this trade. I'm not the GM. I told the young guys to just keep their heads out of their phones. Don't pay attention to social media. Keep your head in the game. LeBron, dude, you're not fooling anybody anymore. Like everywhere you go, people move around, people get traded, coaches get fired, and how can it not be you? It's not just the GMs acting on their own. Now, I do believe that Magic, and I can't recall any of the Cavaliers GMs' names, but the Cavalier GMs, they probably did act a little bit on their own, but to believe that they don't go to LeBron James and say, LeBron, what do you think about this? I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I'm sure they get his input. Now, this is what happens. When you have the biggest name or the biggest superstar in the NBA, and you're a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers when they reacquired him, they want to do everything in their power to make LeBron happy, and it almost gets to be a detriment to the team. And like you're saying, all of the other guys on the team basically get pushed aside because it's all about LeBron. And because of that, there's all these side effects. And part of those side effects are, David Blatt. Honestly, I thought he was doing a good job as the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron didn't agree with him as the coach. So all of a sudden, Tyronn Lue comes in, who is thought to be one of LeBron's guys, right? So now we're in L.A., and we're thinking, okay, what's going to happen? I think we all look at the writing on the wall. If LeBron doesn't like Luke Walton won't stick around. If LeBron says, I want another superstar on this team, he may not be saying, let's ship out all of our young core. But Magic Johnson and the rest of the Lakers brass are doing everything in their power to get LeBron another superstar. They still want to be able to capitalize on LeBron in his prime, or at least he's still good enough to be the best player on the planet, right? But eventually we're going to see a decline. So they want to capitalize right now. And if that means doing a trade where you trade away 8 players off of your team, then you're going to do whatever it takes. So even if LeBron isn't saying, okay, I want you to trade, Lonzo and Kuzma and Brandon Ingram and all these guys, he's still there. And as long as LeBron is in the room, the world is going to revolve around him. And if he sneezes, they're going to be like, oh, I think that meant that he doesn't like Lonzo anymore. Let's trade him. Like, it doesn't matter what LeBron does or says at this point. Everywhere he goes, he's going to create chaos. He's going to create this wave of just chaos, and it's unbelievable how it gets to that point. And that's what he is. It is what it is, right?
I kind of just wish he would just admit it. Be like, yeah, things run through me. I'm LeBron James. Of course things run through me. But don't sit there and try to pass it off that, they're going to come to you or not come to you at all and be like, hey, LeBron, we just traded all your teammates. And you're going to be like, man, I really wanted to work with those young guys. I really wanted to develop them. I wanted to prove to everybody that I'm this leader that people don't see. And that's what I wanted. And you guys traded them all the way. And I'm just going to sit here and deal with it. No, that doesn't happen. If LeBron wanted those guys there, they would stay. If he wanted them gone for AD, they'll be gone for AD, or at least they'll try to.
But don't you think that's part of the problem when you create this like big lie? Like, he probably sat there when he got traded to the Lakers and moved over to LA. He probably sat down with these guys and was like, yeah, I'm going to develop you. I'm going to turn you into these great players. We're going to be great teammates. And then he can't come out publicly and say, I pull the strings here. I want to get all these guys moved, because then he'll look like a jerk, right? He wants to be the nice guy in the NBA. So he basically goes into a dark room with Magic Johnson in a back alleyway, and he's like, dude, do whatever it takes. I don't care.
Please tell me they're wearing tan trench coats with like a detective hat.
They look like Inspector Gadget.
Yes, I love it.
Perfect. And LeBron's like, do whatever it takes. Man, I don't care who you got to get rid of. Get AD here. Get rid of all of them. I don't care. Get me some help. And then LeBron comes out, man, I love these young guys. I don't run the show. I don't have anything to do with this. I'm just LeBron James. I don't do anything about this. And he's just trying to save face. But it's that lie that's snowballed. And that's what, to me, it looks like.
Loudbeard, that is what it looks like. But you know what that sound is.
Yeah, I'm watching either an episode of 24 or it is the trade deadline.
No, 24 has been canceled, so it is the trade deadline clock officially now here on Scout Team Radio. And, man, lots of movement, including this Harrison Barnes trade. But one trade didn't go down, the one we've all been waiting for. And Loudbeard, it is now 6:17 a.m., which means we have, about 10 hours, less than 10 hours to go?
Yep, the doomsday clock is on right now. Doomsday.
So the Lakers and Pelicans didn't make any trades. However, we did just mention the Harrison Barnes trade. What all went on into that Harrison Barnes trade, Loudbeard?
The Mavericks traded Harrison Barnes over to the Sacramento Kings. The Kings are trading back Zach Randolph, who's a 17-year veteran in the NBA. He's definitely past his prime. He hasn't even played.
So he's got like 10 more years?
Yeah, basically. And then they also traded over Justin Jackson, who was the 15th overall draft pick last year. And so you're not getting much in return for the Mavericks. But to me, this looks like it's kind of tank mode for the Mavericks. They're not looking at today. They're looking more into the future. Now, Harrison Barnes has a player option next year, which is a pretty significant player option. And I think the Mavs were doing this a little bit more for cap relief to get Harrison Barnes off their books. But Harrison Barnes this year was averaging 17.8 points. So the Kings are being aggressive. The Kings are looking to tool up and continue their momentum. They don't want to be the bottom dweller of the NBA. They're trying to get some players. Harrison Barnes is a respected player in the NBA, and he's done good for the Mavericks. He's not an all-star. He could be considered fringe all-star at points in his career, but he's never quite made that leap. He's a good player and a good piece for the Kings. Mavs, to me, it's just like they're bringing on salary that they can not have to worry about. It's not like Randolph's going to be playing. Now, they could be high on Justin Jackson. I honestly don't know a lot about this young kid. Hopefully he's got some potential, but it looks like Sacramento trying to win this trade. Really not a whole lot going on for the Mavericks on this side of the trade, other than, like I said, it could be a little cap relief in the future for them, so they don't have that big option they got to pay Harrison Barnes next year.
Well, they acquired the Purple Unicorn, and he's still injured, so they can be in official tank mode, and now they need to go get the next big guy. We talked about how, oh man, could you imagine Zion Williams and DSJ over there in New York? Well, what if the Mavericks get that lottery ball? Could you imagine Zion Williamson and Perseps Porzingis together?
Yeah, I mean, wherever Zion goes, it's going to be a circus. I mean, he's kind of that next LeBron-type figure coming into the NBA, but anybody he gets paired up with, we're going to automatically think that they're going to be like a superstar duo. So hopefully one of these teams wins this lottery, and we get to see the next coming of the biggest superstar in the NBA. But whoever we pair him up with, whether it's Porzingis or whoever we pair him up with, he's going to be a successful dude, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yes, it will be, Loudbeard. And, well, that wasn't the only trade last night. Last night, Woj was busy last night, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was Woj bobbing left and right. I can go over a few of these trades. I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty because I feel like sometimes there's like 4 or 5 guys thrown into these deals that really don't mean a whole lot. I'll just kind of do the high-level stuff. Otto Porter, he gets traded to the Bulls for Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker. This is one of those. All right, sorry, Chris America. I just got a message in on the board here. I'm reading it. I have no idea what it means. Sorry about that. But Otto Porter to the Bulls for Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker. This was an interesting one for the Wizards. I think they're done with Otto Porter. The Wizards are trying. They're kind of in rebuild mode. They've got John Wall, who completely. Let's see. John Wall, who completely blew out his Achilles the other day. So when he blew out that Achilles, he was.
That was one of our stories we missed. But go on.
Yeah, I announced it at the beginning of the show, and then after that,
we never came back to it.
We never did that.
The
and
AD vacuum, man, it sucks us down every time.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just gonna admit it right here. I've got a problem. I can't read and a message and talk on the radio at the same time. I gotta focus, man. I need to get better at that. That's one of those things that I want to be able to retweet and on Twitter and read people's tweets.
That's when we know we've made it.
Doing the stories, yeah. I'm working on that.
We've made it when we can work on reading and talking at the same time.
That's my New Year's resolution is to do that. Now I can read out loud what I'm reading, but I can't read something else, digest it, and talk about a different subject at the same time. I got to work on that. Otto Porter to the Bulls. Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker go over to the Wizards. Jabari Parker, man, this guy, early draft pick by the Bucks. I thought he was going to have a huge career, man. I was so disappointed the Magic didn't get this guy. And he's just been so disappointing in his career, struggles on defense. I'm hoping that getting a new scenery, going to the Wizards, he gets a new lease on life. Bobby Portis is a great role player. He's done good for the Bulls. This is an interesting trade where I think both of these teams are just ready to move on from their guys and get some new life in here. So good trade on both parts. The Wizards trade, Markieff Morris to the New Orleans Pelicans for Wesley Johnson. Basically, the Wizards were just trying to get under the luxury tax, and that's all they were doing. Yes.
So the Pelicans can make a trade?
Yes. The Pelicans actually did make a trade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you said at the beginning, you're like, the Lakers and the Pelicans didn't make a trade. No, you're wrong. The Pelicans traded Wesley Johnson, and they received Markieff Morris. They know how to trade. I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger yet, but they know what they're doing. Even though this was just a cap relief move for the Wizards, this is a trade that got done. Finally, some action over in New Orleans.
Yeah, you should have led that off with that big headline. The Pelicans made a trade last night, and it was huge.
Huge. Yeah,
that
I should have done that. No.
Was that all the trades, Loudbeard?
No, there was a couple other smaller ones. Iman Shumpert goes to the Rockets. It was a 3-way deal. A lot of just role player type guys moving around. Shumpert, we know him. He's the defensive specialist that played on that Cleveland Cavs team with LeBron James. He was also a Knick earlier in his career. Pretty good piece for the Rockets, but again, it's just a small piece. Hopefully that helps them out. Rockets are looking to make some deals, man. They know that they're not as good as they were last year. They know that same championship caliber mindset that they had last year is really just not quite there. So they're trying to get some pieces and retool a little bit. The Heat, they trade Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington for Ryan Anderson, Orlando Magic legend. So that's it kind of on the trade front. A lot of moving parts. The trades always start happening, but a lot of them are those mid-level guys or those, reserve guys, pieces that are just moving around. I'm ready for another big splash, Chris America. There's going to be another big splash from now until the deadline, and I'm ready for it. I don't know if you've got any predictions on who you think's going to be that big splash, but I'm ready for it.
I think your prediction is AD to the Lakers.
Yeah, that's my prediction. I think this is going to happen. I think the Pelicans just it's too good of a deal for them just to wait until the offseason. Now, what the rumor is that Danny Ainge has talked to the Pelicans and said, hey, Jason Tatum's going to be available in this big package that I have in the offseason. So if the Pelicans are in love with Jason Tatum, that would be the only reason why they don't pull the trigger on the Lakers trade. But we'll see, and I might have to eat an idiot sandwich when we come down to it. So tomorrow morning, we'll recap the trade deadline, and I'm all in. I think the Lakers and the AD trade happens today, and I'm still saying it.
More likely to be traded, AD or Nick Vucevic?
AD. I haven't heard anything about the Magic trading Vooch.
Yeah, I think that to me would be the biggest shocker, at least for us Magic fans. If any trade went down today for the Orlando Magic, we've been non-players at the trade deadline for a really long time, Loudbeard.
We really have. I guess the Serge Ibaka trade was the last big trade that the.
Yeah, but that was at the offseason though, right?
Yeah, you're right. That was off season. At the trade deadline, there hasn't been any significant trades that have happened. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Terrence Ross has been part of a lot of rumors because he's got an expiring deal and he's had a career year for the Magic. But we'll see what ends up happening. Today's a fun day. I'm going to be sitting there probably checking my phone 100 times, just seeing what the updates are throughout the day, seeing if there's any explosive Woj bombs coming our way.
Man, this guy, this is his night to shine, or his day to shine. He's been killing it this whole time, and man, what a career that Woj has. I gotta wonder how much dirt he has on people to get so much information.
I don't know. Same deal with Adam Schefter, right? Like these guys, what's the deal? How do they get all the information? I don't get it.
I think they got pictures, man.
That's what you got to do. You got to get the right pictures in place. That'll make all the difference in the entire world, my friend.
It sure does, Loudbeard. And I got one more sound effect. I got to pull it up.
All right.
Here.
All right. While you're pulling that up,
yesterday was signing day.
Yeah, I've heard of that. It's kind of a stinker, right?
It was, but for one team, they got to hit this. That right there, Loudbeard, is a panic button. And the panic button needs to be hit in Tallahassee. And that's not me being a Gator fan who hates on the Seminoles. That is the fact that they've gone 2 years without signing a quarterback. Their offensive line was trash. They only signed 4 offensive linemen. And they're down to 1 scholarship quarterback in the quarterback room going into spring. Loudbeard, am I being a hater, or is that enough reason to hit a panic button if you're a Seminole fan?
I'm going to answer yes and yes. You are a hater, and yes, there is a panic button that needs to be picked up and pushed and stomped on and thrown at the wall in Florida State right now. If I was a fan of the Florida State Seminoles, which I am not, if I was, I would be nervous because signing day did not go so well. Though you and I both know that signing day does not equal wins on the field. It just means it's moral victories because they could have some guy in the waiting that is unexpected that comes out and lights the world on fire. But all signs are pointing to this being another tough year for Florida State.
Yeah, for signing day, I don't look at your stars and your ranking and everything. I looked at to see if you created some depth at the positions that need depth. And the 2 positions I mentioned, quarterback and offensive line, have no depth. So if you're going into your next season with no depth at those 2 positions, it's going to be extremely difficult to be successful in the game of football if you have no depth at quarterback and especially no depth at offensive line. And an offensive line that is as bad as Florida State was last year. And every single Seminole fan, whether it's people I knew or people I saw on Twitter, were basically that gif of the dog sitting in the flaming classroom saying, "This is fine." That's what they reminded me of.
Yeah, as a fan, you don't want to go in with low hopes, right? You're already thinking about next year. You're thinking, okay, we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna be better. So you hold on to hope. You hold on to just that feeling that it could be okay. You think Slick Willie is gonna come through for you and he's gonna make everything happen. But as a realist, sometimes you got to look at it and say, okay, there's not a lot of hope here. There just really isn't. So we'll see what happens. It's a long time before that season starts.
Yeah,
and
like
I said, guys come out of the woodwork. You never know.
Maybe
sometimes.
there's that Baker Mayfield walk-on that we don't know about yet.
It could happen.
Well, Loudbeard, a team got some hope. A football team got some hope yesterday. Find out which team made a head coaching hire that might turn their whole perspective around for their team.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-ounce sports radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back, and thank you all for listening in. Once again, we are Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every day. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard. We're on 12-ounce sports radio Monday through Friday at 6 a.m., and we replay again at 11 a.m. You can download the TuneIn app and search 12-ounce sports radio or hit up the website, 12ouncesportsradio.com. You can also find us on the Barn Burner Network. That's a new partnership we have. We're excited to be a part of the Barn Burner Network, which is based out of Toronto. We love Canada. That is right. Thank you all for all the Canadians that are listening in. Chris America, he loves Canada just as much as he loves America. I'm just letting you know that. You can also catch us on the podcast. Podcast is available at scoutteamradio.com or on Apple Podcasts. If you hit us up on Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Do all of that fun stuff. We love all of that. Yes, do that, right, Chris America?
Loudbeard, you know why you listen to the podcast too? Always listen to us live on either Barn Burner or on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. But you can take us on the go at any moment's notice. You can take us on let's say a jog through the Colorado mountains, and we will inspire you. We will give you the energy and the motivation you need to choke out a mountain lion. That's how great our show is, Loudbeard. I'm pretty sure I double-checked the story, and it did say that he was listening to Scout Team Radio while he was on this run, and that is what set him over the edge to help him choke out a mountain lion. Another good time to listen to us, Loudbeard, is when you're moving, when you're packing up. It's good to listen to us. It'll help the moving blues. Nobody likes to pack up or unpack. And two head coaches, did that this week. One, Zach Taylor, did it when he was on his move to Cincinnati from L.A. And then one, Brian Flores, who did that from New England to Miami. Loudbeard, you talk about two guys who are changing geographical and weather locations to the extreme. Not that they don't want to become head coaches, but one guy kind of got a better end of the deal as far as weather goes, did he?
Hey, gotta love that beautiful weather, right? That's what you gotta go for.
Going from Boston to Miami, he doesn't have to deal with any polar vortexes down there. But then to go from L.A. to Cincinnati, man, that's quite the difference.
Yeah, these guys are changing locations. Hopefully they do well on their new teams, man. I always like when new coaches are successful. It warms my heart, Chris America. I want to see these guys do well. Yeah, I'm going to say especially Cincinnati.
It's been so long since Miami's been good, man. The Dan Marino days are just getting further and further away, and I kind of miss it. Not a Miami fan at all. Never really have been, but I've said this multiple times on the show. It's a lot more fun being in Florida when the Florida teams are good, and the three Florida teams have just been god-awful. I will never hope the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be good, but Jacksonville and Miami, I like to see them do well. So I'm really rooting for Brian Flores to finally turn Miami around. Just get rid of Ryan Tannehill. That should have been, that's day one stuff. I don't even know why that guy was still there.
Yeah, he was like a cat. He had 9 lives. He's still hanging on to that last one.
Now, do you think the red rifle, do you think he gets another shot with Zach Taylor? Do you think he can turn him around like he turned Jared Goff around? Or is it time for the Cincinnati Bengals to move on from him?
Nah, Andy Dalton's been kind of a staple there. I don't see them moving on. I don't see him making that drastic of a change immediately. I could easily see Andy Dalton at least getting 1 to 2 more years. If he struggles, and as a new coach, those new coaches, they don't have a long lifespan if they're not doing well. So if he struggles, I could see him moving on later, but he's gonna have that shot. Andy Dalton's gonna be his quarterback starting out.
Well, Loudbeard, that's appreciate you saying all of that, but I'm tired of being in this time frame, and I'm ready to fire up the DeLorean today.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. You know why? Because sometimes when it's trade deadline day, we like to reminisce, and instead of just thinking about the past, we like to go to the past.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
That's right, Chris America. I did. I built a time machine out of a DeLorean, and now you can call me Doc. I'm Doc Emmett from, some movie about something and about time travel, whatever. But I'm going back in time, Chris Americas, to some of the biggest trade deadline deals that have ever happened, especially over the last 20 years. I'm going to go all the way back to 2001. The Philadelphia 76ers, they had one superstar on their team by the name of Allen Iverson, and they just needed to get over that hump. They needed one more superstar to pair up with them. But the problem was Allen Iverson was selfish. He was a selfish offensive player. So what they needed to get was the best defensive player in all of the league. The guy that would do the finger wag right at his opponents every time he would block that ball. That's right, 2001, Dikembe Mutombo gets traded to the 76ers and helps carry that 76ers to the NBA Finals that year. Unfortunately, they do not win that championship, but that was the best 76ers team we have seen in a very, very long time.
Loudbeard, that's what you get with Scout Team Radio. Our listeners tuned in, and they did not think there's that high, louder. They're it goes again.
I don't know why it does that. It just
goes high on you.
Yeah, that's what she said. So.
Yeah, I think our listeners tuned in today, and they did not think they were going to hear the name Dikembe Mutombo, and that's what we bring, Loudbeard.
Yeah, that's right. You never know what you're going to get from Scout Team Radio. All right, moving forward, we're getting back in the DeLorean. We're going to move up to 2004, Chris America. The Detroit Pistons was a very solid team at that time, but they felt like they were missing one little piece. Rasheed Wallace gets traded to the Detroit Pistons in 2004. And what does that Detroit Pistons team do, Chris America?
They didn't do much. They won a few playoff games, and then they hoisted some weird trophy that has a basketball on top of it.
Would that be the NBA championship trophy by chance?
I think it would be, yes.
Okay. Well, I guess that trade worked out. All right, we're going to fast forward a few more years, and we're going to go to 2008. And this was back when the league just did whatever the Los Angeles Lakers wanted them to do. Shaq leaves the Los Angeles Lakers, and they need to rebuild around Kobe Bryant. Well, the Memphis Grizzlies, they have a European star by the name of Pau Gasol, and they basically do a handshake with the Lakers, send away Pau Gasol for some draft picks and some role players, and the dynasty of the Lakers continues with Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol winning 2 more championships. Wow, the Lakers were getting great deals back in 2008 also, weren't they, Chris America?
Yes, they were, and that was an infamous trade. And I remember where I was, what I was doing, and my friend Donald saying, well, the Lakers just won a championship. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he pointed to, we were at a restaurant, and he pointed to the TV behind me, and it showed the trade, and I was like, mother F, they are going to win a championship. And they did.
They won 2 after that. That was a heck of a deal for the Lakers. All right, now, Chris America, the next one isn't so bright and sunny and cheery, but in 2011, after many, many weeks and months of speculation, Carmelo Anthony finally forced his way out of Denver and joined the New York Knicks as a trade deadline deal. 3 teams involved, 13 players involved, and Carmelo finally gets his way, and he joins the New York Knickerbockers. You remember that trade?
I do, Loudbeard, and everybody thought the New York Knicks are back. They're going to do well, and I think the best they did was, what, first or second round of the playoffs in 2012?
Well, the year that he got traded, they made the playoffs. They got out in the first round. The following year, they made the playoffs, got knocked out in the first round. And then in 2012, 2013, I believe they made it to the second round of the playoffs, got knocked off, and never made it back, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
so
I think you're right.
That was the height of their Carmelo Anthony deal.
And the Denver Nuggets doing quite okay for themselves.
Yeah, they recovered pretty well from that trade because they got so many assets in return, because they knew that's what the Pelicans need to do. It needs to be the same deal where you get a ton of assets in return and keep your program rolling. All right, with Chris America, we're going to go forward just 1 year to a Dwightmare. This is the saddest day in Orlando Magic history, or the happiest. I can't remember which one it was. But in 2012, after months and months and years of the Dwightmare killing the Orlando Magic, finally the Lakers get their guy. And how did that work out for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Oh, it worked out great. Dwight Howard was his old self. He became Superman again. He was dunking on 15-foot rims. Kobe Bryant was like his old self, too. And they went on. It was like Shaq and Kobe all over again. They went on to win 15 NBA titles after that.
You're taking a time machine to an alternate reality, aren't you?
I am. I'm doing a little Rick and Morty there for you guys. Nope, that didn't. None of that happened. Dwight Howard's back was not that good. Was Steve Nash on that team?
Yeah, but I don't think he played much because he got hurt and he was done at that point.
I think I remember the Sports Illustrated cover where it was him, Dwight, and Kobe, and it was like, oh, the new big three, and I just remember laughing like, this is not going to end well. This looks way better on paper. If this was NBA 2K13 or whatever year that happened, that might work out for you, but not in real life.
Nope, not at all. All right, I got one more for you, Chris America. We're going to take this time machine to 2017, and DeMarcus Cousins gets traded. He was on the Sacramento Kings for forever, and he gets traded over to the Pelicans, and they get their big two, Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. How did that work out, Chris America?
Well, it worked out just like it did for the Lakers. It didn't.
So we haven't had a big trade deadline deal really work out for a team as of late between Dwight Mayer and DeMarcus Cousins. It just doesn't seem like these things are panning out.
It seems like that Gasol trade that you mentioned earlier back in 2008 was the only one that worked out. And, Ladbeer, trades are supposed to be an equal thing, right?
They should be. There should be some sort of value for each team.
And I don't think I've ever seen in sports history where two teams make a trade and then those two teams find each other in the finals and playing for a championship. It's usually one team comes out really, really well and the other team comes out like, we're okay. There's never really two winners in a trade unless you're a team that's just looking to dump salary. That's the only time you become a winner is when your main goal is just to get the best player in all of the NBA, which is salary cap room. That's always a good player.
Yeah, I like that. Cash considerations, also a good player.
Also a good player. But you never see like, oh wow, the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys really benefited off of that trade for. Now I can't think of his name. The running back. Way back in the day.
Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker. There you go. Thank you.
I had to think about it for a second, too. That's why there was that moment of silence. My brain had to kick in because you're switching sports on me. I got to keep it together.
One day, Loudbeard, maybe when we have like an afternoon show, my brain will be fully functional to remember people's names. But for now, you're going to hear a lot of, what's this guy's name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's his name? Oh, Herschel Walker. That guy. Worst trade in NFL history.
Oh man, Leonard, one day I would love to go through the history of sports and find trades that almost happened but didn't. Because I always like those stories where, oh man, if this would have happened, it would have changed the face of the NBA. Like, I don't know if he would have been traded, but wasn't there like talks early on or in the early 90s about Michael Jordan going to the Lakers? Could you imagine if that actually happened?
Oh yeah, that would have been absurd. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm glad that never happened. I'm glad Michael Jordan stayed with the Bulls for as long as he did and brought them all their championships because we didn't need more Los Angeles Lakers dynasties. They've already had enough. Between Shaq and Kobe and Magic and Kareem, I don't need to see any more superstars. Now they got LeBron. Ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
Or what if, this wasn't a trade deadline deal, but what if the Oklahoma City Thunder never traded James Harden?
Yeah, I think that actually on a regular basis. I don't know why. I just always, with Oklahoma City, I'm like, dude, you had the guys, man. You had the guys. But they couldn't afford to keep him. They knew they were going to have to pay him a truckload of money because he was that good. So they're thinking, okay, well, we'll trade him and get some value in return. And that was one of the worst NBA trades, man. Getting rid of James Harden, and they got back like Kevin Martin and like some role players and some draft picks that didn't end up amounting to anything. Come on, Oklahoma City. Come on.
Come on, man. And Houston made out great. I think it definitely lifted that franchise up to where they are today. I don't know if they're there without James Harden. I don't know if they have Chris Paul. I don't know where they would be, but I think they'd probably be somewhere in that 8th or 9th seed if that.
Well, the Houston Rockets, when the Los Angeles Lakers traded for Dwight Howard, that same season the Rockets were all in on Dwight Howard also. So imagine if he just skipped L.A. and went to Houston. It could have messed up that franchise for years and years to come. Because he didn't go to Houston, they were able to get James Harden a couple years later, maybe the following year. Mm-hmm. And at that point, that's when that franchise completely got turned around and became a heavy hitter again. It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. Well, Loudbeard, there were some games that were played last night.
All right. I didn't realize there was actually games played. I thought we just talked about trade talk all the time. Okay, good. I guess because Harrison Barnes played, we could talk about that. No, I don't care about the Mavs. All right, Chris America, go ahead. What games were played last night? Anything fun?
Well, the Warriors continued showing their dominance. They beat the Spurs 141-102. The Spurs run.
Wow, 141.
Yeah,
141. Freaking
to 102.
unbelievable, man. Cheat code right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 35-plus point victory there over a solid Spurs team. I think that Spurs dynasty's done, right? Not dynasty, but the franchise. Is it time for them to kind of blow things up and maybe start over?
I'm going to say no as far as blowing it up, but they've got to get some more pieces in there. Aldridge and DeRozan are the right pieces. They just need to get a little bit more. It's just they're not going to be in that conversation as being a top team. They're going to be that 6th, 7th, or 8th seed each year until maybe they get another big-time superstar. They're missing that one big superstar. That's a team that could use Anthony Davis. Just saying.
Yeah, and it looks like Anthony Davis did not log in any minutes last night. So in their win over the Bulls. So what are they going to do if they don't trade him today, Bud or Loudbeard? I just called you Bud because I just saw my son. What are they going to do? Are they going to just not play him?
That's a good question. The idea is they could just sit him the rest of the year, go full tank mode, and keep him rested and healthy so that he can be traded in the offseason. That's one way to put it. But, I mean, a full, healthy, young player on your team, can you do that to your fans as an organization? Is that the right thing to do, is just sit them just to sit them? I don't think so.
If you're the commissioner of the league, do you not have to step in and say, look, man, we need every single superstar who's healthy playing. This is how we sell tickets. This is how we sell merchandise. This is how we sell to ESPN and TNT and all those other TV affiliates. We can't have you sitting out a superstar when all of these people are paying all this money to see the superstar play.
But is that the commissioner crossing the line a little bit? I mean, the organization can play whoever they want to play. Are you going to say, oh, you have to play this guy? I mean,
I don't know, man, because like I said, like fans, TV affiliates, everybody, they're paying us money, the NBA money, to see your players play. And healthy scratches all season because you're not getting along with your superstar. Man, no, like this dude's under contract. You're paying him. He has to play.
Yeah, I see where you're going there, but it's a fine line that the commissioner needs to walk because he can't really enforce who the teams can play. But in this situation, it's so blaringly obvious what they want to do, or glaringly obvious, I should say, not blaringly, but what they're trying to do. I don't know, man. That's I don't know. I could go either way with that one.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Le'Veon Bell situation, does it not?
Yeah, I mean,
except for one guy just doesn't want to be on the team, and the other guy just wanted to get a contract to secure his future.
It's got some similarities, but this is so NBA, though. This is what the NBA does. These superstars pushing their way around. This is typical. I think he ends up playing out the rest of the year, but I don't know. It's just typical NBA.
Linebeard, I just got a tweet from Ian Hall. We didn't mention the Milwaukee Bucks game, but the Milwaukee Bucks won 148-129. He says they had 85 at the half. That is insane.
It's almost like they don't need to make a trade because right now they're working so well together. And you know, I was kind of looking at that lineup again for the Bucks, and really they're pretty solid all the way through. Eric Bledsoe's having kind of a career year. Chris Middleton's playing lights out. Giannis is an MVP guy, and I mean they got Brook Lopez on as center. Now he's a little bit past his prime, but he still contributes. You know, like there's a ton of talent on this team, and they've got some good depth. It's just they're not flashy names, and I don't know that the Bucks should mess with their chemistry. They had a great game last night. Their record's showing what they are. Maybe they need to tool up for just the playoff run, but right now, do you mess with the chemistry when your team is playing that well?
Well, the Milwaukee Bucks could be one of two things. They could be the team that's finally gotten over the hump. They're ready to be the dominant team of the East, or they could be the Atlanta Hawks. If you remember that, 2015, I believe it was, when the Atlanta Hawks were just running through the East, and everybody thought, man, LeBron has to worry about this Atlanta Hawks team because they are looking really, really good right now. And then the Atlanta Hawks got to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they were swept. And they didn't even look like they belonged on the same court and I still can't remember if it was the last year that LeBron was on the Heat or if it was the first year he was on the Cavs. I'm kind of hazy on which season that was, but I'm hoping it's that the Bucks are legit and that they're for real because I like this Giannis. I like Milwaukee. We've mentioned the reasons why before, but man, that's what I'm hoping for. But they could easily be a fraud like the Hawks were.
Well, it could be like the Raptors last year.
Yeah.
That's the same situation. They ran through the East, and then they got to LeBron, and LeBron buzzsawed them like he does every year, and they realized they're missing more pieces. And we'll see if the Bucks are for real.
We'll see if they are for real, and that luckily they won't have to run into the LeBron buzzsaw this year because he's in the Lakers, and the Lakers aren't even in the playoffs at this point in time. Well, Loudbeard, we're all out of time.
Are we? Oh, my gosh. It goes so fast.
Time flies when you're having fun on Scout Team Radio.
Stay tuned tomorrow where we will have some sort of fantasy draft about something awesome, and we will recap all of the great news and nuggets from this trade deadline day. Woohoo!
Well, Loudbeard, we also made it to the end of the show without any glitches.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't disappear on me.
At the end. You didn't disappear on me.
I did have that one part in the middle where I was like stumbling around. That drives me crazy. I'm better than that, Chris America. I'm better. Listeners, thank you all for listening in. We love you guys.
Peace.